instant, in an instant, in an instant, hot. In an instant, in an instant, in an instant, hot.
Welcome in. Today we're going to be doing a chicken broth dish, a Chinese style. Going to be quite a healthy dish, this. Maybe, depending on how you feel it's healthy. But it's certainly got a lot of veg in it anyway. I hope everybody's well. This, again, today is a very quick cook. The actual cooking, this is 4-minute cook and then about another 3 minutes. Let's get started. So as I said before, for those who weren't here, I've got quite a bit of veg today. I've got lots of broccoli. This is a big broccoli dish. We've got 1 onion. We've got a bunch of spring onions. And we've got some chicken. On top of the chicken, we have got sesame oil, hoisin sauce, that lovely plum sort of rich flavour, some oyster sauce. I've gone for the thick stuff because I like it nice and thick. Some light soy sauce, it's slightly less salty than the dark. And then we'll also put in some Shaoxing rice wine. Shaoxing, not the easiest thing. As always, I'll be using my lazy garlic. We've got a couple of tablespoons of coconut sugar. But again, if you don't want to use coconut sugar, you could use a brown sugar in this dish. And then finally, we've got a little bit of corn flour to thicken later. We're going to put some water, and we've also got about 200 mils of just a basic beef stock. So, with no further ado, let's crack on. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to chop the onion, because onions are easy to do. Anybody who's watched my stream before will know I have a nice gadget that will chop this onion and stop me crying, because I will. Just bear with me. There we go. So all I'm going to do is peel the onions, nice and simple. Just top and tail the onion and the skin will come off. Very easy. Now then, obviously, some people like me do cry when they're chopping onions. Onions are notorious for that. So that is why I bought my little gadget. And that is an onion chopper. And all it is a press with a blade inside, and it cuts about 8 mils square. So a nice dice, but we've also got a finer blade if I wanted it. And how do we use that? Well, as you know, I've just chopped my onion, chopped the top and tail of my onion, and now I'm going to quarter it. If it's a bigger onion, you might need to put it in a few more pieces. If it's a smaller onion, you can do it in 2. Just going to peel this bit off there. I missed a bit there. There we go. Put that in. That all goes to the compost. And what do? Quite simple. We put this on a sturdy board and put the onion on like that. And then you just press down until it goes click. All of a sudden, the onion's chopped. And you carry on for the other pieces. And because it holds it inside, which is nice, you don't even need to have a separate bowl for it, because once you've taken it off, there you go. Perfectly diced onions. Well, that's the first job done. That's a nice easy start, isn't it? Next, we'll start on the spring onions. So I'm going to be putting the spring onions just in a bowl. All you need to do is get them all in a line at the bottom and chop those bit of roots off. Done. They go in the compost. Then what you do is just chop, chop, chop away, chopping all the way today. Got a lot more spring onion all chopped ready. That's going to be quite fragrant later on. Now, I didn't realise this, but my eyes are starting to water again, and that's only with spring onions. We're going to eat a little bit bigger, these greener bits, because once it cooks, it'll all be soft anyway. Because what we're going to be doing, we'll be sautéing off the onions. I think that's all the onions I need. We'll use those another day. They can go back in the veg rack. We'll move that over here. Now then, who loves broccoli? I know a lot of people don't like broccoli. It's very divisive. I like broccoli, and it goes very well with chicken. Anyway, getting back to broccoli, I know people find it as a bit divisive. They're not overly keen. They find it a bit strong. But it does go very well in Chinese dishes, and it takes on a lot of flavours, especially the strong flavours of hoisin and the oyster sauce. But what we want to do is make sure today that we only have little trees. So it's just a case of cutting it along and making sure we've got little trees. With this big stalk, if you've got enough vegetables or skins and things, don't throw it away. Make a stock, make a vegetable stock. Dead easy. Now I like the look of some of these trees, but some of them are a little bit big. So let's put the smaller ones away. But you see that one, that's way too big. So just break it. Quite easy. And there, just chop down a little bit further. Again, use that bit for making a vegetable stock. Couple more little trees. There we go. Break that in half maybe. And there we go. Lovely. This recipe takes quite a lot of broccoli. I'm going to start off with 2 heads, as I'm doing here. See how I am, but it might be a 3rd head. Again, use for a stock. That's a bit big, that bit, so let's put it there. Yeah, that's okay. Put that in half. Yeah. So you get the idea. Just sort of little trees. Happy little accidents, I think, as Bob Ross would say. If anybody watches him, they would know that he likes making little things. You know, a little stroke of a brush here and you've got a waterfall. Use a little trowel and you've got a stone path. It's just the same with cooking. Cooking is an art. I do find it's very much an art form. It's a case of, well, if you do this, then what else could you do? And if you do that, what else could you do? And so it goes on. So I've got 2/3 of a bowl. I think I'm going to use another half a broccoli. Let's just cut off the bits I want. There we go. Nice fluffy tree becomes 2 bushes. And what we're going to do with the broccoli first, we're going to have to steam it. I'm going to be using the microwave to steam this just so it softens up a little bit. But that'll be in a while, not quite yet. What are we going to do next? Well, we're going to do all the prep first. So we've done all the veg prep. So let's get rid of that. And now it's time to do the meat. Change of board. And here, I've just got 4 chicken breasts. Again, change of knife. And we'll move the broccoli out of the way because we don't need that yet. So with the chicken breasts, all we're going to do is put them into sort of an inch-sized dice. As I said, I've got 4 here, pretty much the same size. I don't know, maybe a kilo and a half. Just wash my hands. I'm going to put them back into the bowl for now because they'll be done later. Now I always find it easier to cut down the chicken breast like that, and down again like that. And then you can easily just slice. And we want sort of that size piece. It's going to be browned off in the Instant Pot soon. Nice and easy. Now again, I spoke about this last week. I always find it better to get your meat and veg as well if you can in advance. Now I was very lucky that I got this chicken and it was the end of a day in Tesco, and what had happened, it was a Sunday afternoon about 3 o'clock, and they'd reduced all these chicken breasts to less than half price. Less than half price. So I got a few boxes and put them in my freezer. So I've had these in the freezer for a week or two, defrosted it overnight, left it in the fridge till this morning, which is better because it makes them very slightly firmer the longer you leave it. You know, obviously you want them fully defrosted because you can't cook with non-defrosted chicken. That's not healthy. But, as I said, it was half price. So I capitalised to make it better in the future. I was lucky I had room in my freezer for the chicken and had a bit of cash on me to pay for it. But I got over double what I would normally get. So that's good, isn't it? Nearly there. So at this moment, we're going to do nothing with the chicken. We're not going to use any salt in this recipe. We're going to use no pepper in this recipe, because we've got flavours and salt in other things. As I said, we've got soy sauce, which naturally is salty. So we'll be using that. So, as you can see, that's all chopped now. I'm going to get rid of that board. I'm going to wash my hands again, because I've been handling raw chicken, which is not a good thing to be handling. And the whole kitchen collapses. So far, so good. We've chopped all the veg, we've chopped the chicken, we've chopped the onion. So now it's time to actually start doing the first thing. For those who've got an Instant Pot, you'll know how this works. you're going to put it on saute for 15 minutes and press start. It'll take a few minutes to actually get to heat. When it gets to heat though, we're going to put a little bit of oil in the pan. But once we've done that, it's going to be a case of sauteing the onions and the spring onions. Then we'll add the chicken and we're going to start browning that. So the chicken can go to the side for now because we're not using it for a while. But what we do need to do, meanwhile, is get the broccoli. Now, as I said earlier, we've got to do a couple of steps with the broccoli. So the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to put about 150 ml of water in the bowl with the broccoli. Just a drop at the bottom, maybe a little bit more, maybe 200 ml. Yeah, we'll put 200 ml in for now. And then we're going to cover it. So let's put a cover on it. And this is going to be used in the microwave. What we're going to do with this is steam it for a couple of minutes just to get it softened. There we go. That's ready to go into the microwave. Once it's in the microwave, we can get that going for 2 minutes. All that's doing is going to soften it. So hopefully that will work out well. Meanwhile, our lovely Instant Pot is getting warm. I'm going to undo the lid on my favourite ingredients, my garlic. And then we'll go and add the onion. So, the other thing we need to do, at some point, we'll just make a bit of corn flour, which should be nice and simple to do. All we're going to do with that is add a couple of tablespoons with some water into a bowl and make it into a slurry. But we'll come back to that when the Instant Pot is actually on. Right, my Instant Pot's just beeped at me. So I'm just going to put a little drop of oil into it and then we'll be able to cook. So let's go to cook cam. So literally that's it. A couple of teaspoons of oil. You don't need much in this at all because actually it'll cook that quick. And the broccoli has now warmed through. And I'm just going to leave that covered. So what we're going to do is take off the cover of my onions and straight away you can hear it sizzling. You can see the steam coming out. We've got the old spoon. It seems to be a regular occurrence, this. Everything I cook at the moment always starts with the onions being sauteed. Sometimes in butter, sometimes just in a little bit of oil. But today we've used a bit of oil. Now you've got to make sure it's kept moving, otherwise it will stick to the bottom of the pan very, very easy. This pan gets overly hot. Oh yes. We'll be adding in the spring onions in a minute, because these are already starting to turn translucent. If they start going brown, then I know I've had them in too long and they're burnt. So next, we're going to add in the spring onions. And again, it's going to be in there for a couple of minutes just to soften up. All this will break down later when it's cooked. And I said the actual first cooking time is only 4 minutes. So after you've chopped your broccoli and your onions and your chicken, of course you can buy diced chicken, you can buy diced onion in a frozen bag. But after you've done that, then it's literally a few minutes to cook and it's done. It's a very, very simple, quick recipe once again. You can see that the spring onions are slowly starting to change colour, sort of getting a bit more lighter green so as they start to cook. And so we just need to make sure we're constantly keeping this turning. So now, my next favourite ingredient for today is just 1 heaped teaspoon of garlic. That's it, just 1 today, not a lot. And now you've really got to be quick because that garlic will burn. And burnt garlic does not taste nice at all. Now then, before that starts sticking, now it's time to add all the chicken. So it's a case of literally, there you are, in. Hear that sizzle? Again, keep it moving. You don't want anything to burn. Now you might be able to see at the bottom of the pan, just there, it's already starting to stick. Well, it's okay, because when we put the stock in, that'll actually help deglaze. Well, can you see how fast this chicken's already turning colour? It's already turning white, which is good, because we just want it to get to the just about sauteing, the browning. And then we can actually start adding in some flavours. Now this on itself is okay, but it goes well with some rice. Now I'm cheating today, I'll be honest. I have literally got a pouch of microwavable rice. Again, you just put it in the microwave for 2 minutes. This is 45p from Aldi. And it's a nice couple of portions in it. And when we do the final stage on the cooking, I'll be putting that in the microwave. All you literally do, rip the top off, stand it up, put it on for 2 minutes. So, very, very simple cook. So now, this chicken is nearly at the point I need it to be. It's nearly all white. So all we're going to do then is going to add all the different sauces and also the stock and the sugar. So there we go. I am happy with the way that's looking now. Let's just get it all off the sides, because we want it down at the bottom ready to cook. First thing to do, as I said, we've got some stock. Now I have got about 300 ml of stock, but I'm going to be using 250 of it to start with. Just reserve that a drop, just in case you need to thin it down a little bit. And then give everything a good stir. So not only is that going to give it a bit of flavour, but because you put the water in, it's going to allow the actual pot to come to pressure. If you didn't do that, you'd get the horrible burning signal, which is not what you want. Now we're going to add in the other things now. So we're going to add in Some, what's first? Oh yes, the sesame oil. I'm going to add in sesame oil. This is about 5 tablespoons of sesame oil in that. And you can see it's already starting to bubble. That fast. So, 5 tablespoons of that. Going on to the soy sauce. Again, about 5 tablespoons of soy sauce as well. Give that a stir. That's going to give it its nice saltiness. Next comes the oyster sauce. Now this one I've already got a couple of tablespoons, but this is really thick. Now this just gives it a nice background flavour. Doesn't taste anything like oysters that I've ever had, but it certainly gives something. And it's a bit treacly actually, to be honest. So if you need to just get it off your spoon, do that. And then we've got 3 more items to add. First of all, my favourite, the hoisin. And again, the hoisin, I'm going to use about 5 tablespoons, 75ml, somewhere around there. And again, that's sticky. Might be able to get a bit more out of this pot. Don't want to be wasting hoi sauce. I've already steamed my broccoli and I've let it rest. So I'm going to actually look and see what it comes out as. So here we go. Here's the steamed broccoli. And it's softened it up a little bit. I'm going to give it another 30 seconds though. I think another 30 seconds will do it fine. Meanwhile, teaspoon at the ready. So we're just going to make a little bit of cornstarch, a bit of slurry. And this I'll just use as a thickener. So, let's see. Use a tablespoon to start with. And a little drop of water. Remember, the more cornstarch you use, the thicker this will become. And you just need to get it into a slurry. And once it's in a slurry, then that's all you need to do. You can see there, that's a good consistency. And that's ready for when the actual Instant Pot is done. So as I said, what's going to happen with the Instant Pot, when it comes to temperature, it'll start cooking. So at the moment, I'm just knocking everything flying. Because I've been cooking with it already, it's preheated very, very fast. It's now on cooking. So we've literally got 4 minutes, and that'll be it. So what happens in that after that 4 minutes? Well, what we're going to do then, we're going to, what we call do a quick pressure release, which effectively is releasing the vent at the back of the machine, and all of a sudden all of the steam will dissipate into the air, and the pressure will drop and allow us to open the lid on the cook. If we don't do a quick pressure release, we do a slow one, which just means that after 4 minutes, the Instant Pot itself will go on to keep warm and will very slowly release the steam. Very, very slowly. And it might take about 30 minutes, 40 minutes to get rid of all the steam. Whereas with a quick release, 2 to 3 minutes. So what's the advantage? Well, it depends on what you're cooking. Some items require a slow release because it means it's going to keep on cooking that much more. So if you want to get more depth into a sauce or something, you might decide actually I want it to get thicken up, so I'll do a slow release. Whereas in this, I want to get to eat it sooner rather than later. And then, of course, once the quick release is done here, I'm going to be adding the broccoli. When I've added the broccoli, then I'll add the cornstarch and just see what happens. Meanwhile, I'm going to cook the bag of rice and hopefully have a nice meal ready for my lunch. Here we're down to the final few seconds now. There you go. For those who can't hear that, my Instant Pot is now beeping. So those who have got one, you want to go back to cancel and then do a quick release. So you can see how much steam is coming out of this. Very noisy, but it's going to be yummy. So now we've probably got, I don't know, 5 minutes left till we actually get a meal. So the steam has gone. I don't know if you heard that, but the actual vent pin has gone down. So that means we can open our Instant Pot. So let's open it and see what we get. So you can see here, it's all cooked and things. For those with the Instant Pot, you need to put it back on saute now for a few minutes. Make sure you press the start button. And then once it's actually boiling furiously, then we can add some of the broccoli. I'll give it a quick stir. You can see it's very thin at the moment. When we add the cornstarch, once it's boiled, then that'll thicken up. And then it'll start coating the broccoli. And that's what we want. Meanwhile, I'm cooking the rice in the microwave. As I said, it'll take 2 minutes. That's all. Nice and easy, nice and quick. It's what we want to have. Just give it another quick stir to make sure it's all done. And then we'll add half of it. There we go. We'll add that and let that cook through. And then see what consistency that gives us. Again, just going to let it, give it a good stir. I'm going to let it get back to the rapid boil. And see if that's going to be thick enough. No, I think it's going to need the rest of the cornstarch. So we'll add in the rest. There we go. And once again, give that a stir. The good thing with cornstarch is it doesn't really flavour any food. It just does a nice job of thickening. Now that is looking a lot thicker, looking good. So let it get it back up to the rolling boil for the final time. Then we can add some of this broccoli. Let's add that for now. Because it's on saute, the broccoli, we just started it off in the microwave area. So the broccoli's already partly cooked. And that's probably all the broccoli I'm going to use today. It's just a case now of actually leaving it to bubble for a while the rest of that broccoli cooks. Won't take more than a couple of minutes. So now it's time to get back to the other table and start plating up. So I've got my bag of rice here. That's all been cooked. So let's just do a little bit in the middle there. Can you see that? Can you hear that? How does that sound now? And there we go. So now you need to press cancel and keep warm, and it is now cooked. So let us serve some. Can you see that? Get a bit of chicken. And all we're doing is keeping it warm. So we just put the lid back on and it's done. So there you have it. If you want to, can you smell that? I hope it tastes good. Time to eat. So the smell is really nice. I can smell the hoisin and the oyster sauce. The broccoli, it's got a slight bit of texture. Mmm. Mmm. The flavours are unbelievable. Do you want to try some? Here you go. Whoa. Mm. The chicken is literally fell apart in my mouth. It's that tender. It's not dry. It's just really juicy, really moist. Oh, yeah. It's heaven in a dish. Heaven in a dish. What more could I say? So there you have it, guys. That's my chicken broth, Chinese style chicken broth. Let's go through the ingredients again. We've got some sesame oil. We've got some Shaoxing rice wine, 1 onion, a bunch of spring onions, some garlic. I use 4 chicken breasts, about 200 ml of stock, 250 ml of stock maybe, some hoisin, some soy sauce, some oyster sauce. I've used some coconut sugar, but you can use normal sugar if you want to, or brown sugar. I've used a lot of trees of broccoli, and just some cornstarch at the end to thicken it. As a recap, we chopped the onion and the spring onions, we sauteed them, we added the garlic, we just browned off the chicken, then we added in the stock, all the sauces and the sugar, and we pressure cooked it for 4 minutes. Did a quick release. When it came out, we put it back on saute until it was on a rapid boil. And then we added in the cornstarch bit by bit until it was the consistency you wanted. Added the broccoli, let it cook for another couple of minutes, and ready to eat. Meanwhile, I got a bag of rice in the microwave for 2 minutes. You know, I just like using simple things. Why make it any harder on yourself? So I hope everyone's enjoyed this stream. Please like and subscribe if you can on YouTube channel, and go on my website inandinstantpot.com. I'm in an iPot on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook. There is a Facebook group. Please come along and join. We've got about 25 members already, and that's where we're going to share recipes and hopefully become a good community. Tomorrow I'm going to be streaming again at 10 o'clock, but this time I'm not using the Instant Pot. For the first time, I'm going to use the air fryer, which is an Instant Pot Vortex. I'm going to be doing something I've never done before. We're going to be cooking some bacon in it, see how that turns out, and then using that crispy bacon in egg bites. Yep, as I said, the air fryer is new to me, so it's all experimentation. So let's hope it doesn't go wrong. But if it does go wrong, you'll be there to join. So, I'm glad you think it smells good, Copy Pot. And everybody else, Liz, I do suggest you get some food in before you start these streams. Although tomorrow, we're going to be using lots of eggs. So, but as I said before, I've got my chicks. They give me eggs every day. So, hey, why not try something different and use them? So, to everybody else, thank you for watching. Have a good day. And talking of the chicks, enjoy!
In an instant, in an instant, in